AITA for leaving my ex crying in public after she humiliated me? The slap echoed so loudly that two waiters turned around at the same time. I felt the sting on my left cheek, but what hurt me the most in that moment was not the blow. It was realizing that the woman I had spent 2 years of my life with had planned that moment with the same dedication I had used to reserve that table by the window. Is that all you are going to do, Dylan? Sit there like a coward? Kayla was breathing heavily, her eyes shining with a rage that seemed rehearsed in front of a mirror. Next to her, the guy, because at that time I did not even know his name, had that smile of someone who thinks they are starring in a 9 p.m. drama. I just picked up my napkin, wiped the corner of my lip, and looked at my watch. 9:20 p.m. I had been waiting for her since 8. A whole hour watching how the ice in my glass melted while I mentally rehearsed the toast I never got to give. But let me go back a bit, because to understand why I reacted like that night in that restaurant in the West Village, you need to know who I was before Kayla decided to turn our anniversary into a public scene. I was 25 years old. Back then, I worked as a graphic designer in a small agency in the Williamsburg area of Brooklyn. I earned enough to pay my rent in a shared apartment in Ridgewood, Queens, and still had something left over to keep saving in a bank account I had opened since I was 22. I was not rich or anywhere near it, but I had a plan, and plans were always sacred to me. My dad was a construction worker. My mom sold homemade baked goods on weekends near the subway station in our neighborhood. I was the first in the family to finish a college degree. Nobody gave me anything for free. Everything I had worked hard for, and that is why I thought twice about every dollar I spent. I met Kayla at a backyard barbecue at a cousin's house over in Jackson Heights, Queens, right in the middle of April. She arrived with a high school friend. She was wearing a yellow dress that fit her perfectly, and from the first moment she opened her mouth, she captivated me. She talked with her hands, laughed loudly, and told stories about her job at a marketing company, as if every day were an adventure worthy of a streaming series. She was everything I was not: loud, spontaneous, impatient. You are the quiet type, right? She told me that night, while we ate burgers and corn on the cob in the kitchen. More like the type who listens before talking. Wow, how deep. And what do you hear from me? That you talk a lot, so you do not have to say what you really want. She laughed so hard that even my cousin turned around from the grill. And within 2 weeks, we were officially dating. The first few months were like living inside one of those songs they play on the radio when you are driving through the city at night. We went to Central Park on Sundays, grabbed food from the vendors, went to the movies at an indie theater in the village, and walked until our feet hurt. I told her about my dreams of starting my own design studio. She told me about wanting to travel to Europe, having a house with a garden, and a big dog like a golden retriever that she would name Simba. Everything was going well until the questions started. The first time was at about 7 months. We were in my room watching a series on my laptop, when she suddenly hit pause and turned to me with that look I had not yet learned to read. Dylan, do you see me as your wife someday? I froze, not because the answer was difficult, but because the question came too soon. Just 7 months. We were barely learning how to argue without breaking things. Kayla, of course I think about it, but it is not the time yet. I want to offer you something more before taking that step. A place of our own, a business that is already running, a decent savings cushion. I do not want to get married and start from scratch. I want to get married and start living. She smiled, but the smile did not reach her eyes. So, you do not love me enough. I did not say that, Kayla. I said I want to do it right. That is what I understood. And so it all began. Month after month, the same conversation returned like a ghost that does not know how to leave. Every time we saw a wedding on social media, every time a friend of hers got engaged, every time we passed by a jewelry store in the Diamond District or Fifth Avenue, I explained it to her calmly, patiently, with love. I even told her that marriage for me was not a party, nor a ring, nor a pretty picture. It was a responsibility that I preferred to wait 2 more years for and do it right, instead of rushing and living suffocated paying bills we could not afford. You are very boring, Dylan. Normal people get married for love, not for spreadsheets. And normal people get divorced over money. Kayla, I do not want to be part of that statistic. Those arguments became routine. We almost never raised our voices. It was worse. They were long, repetitive, exhausting conversations where she ended up crying in silence, and I stared at the ceiling feeling like the worst man in the world over something that in my head was simple common sense. Sometimes I would wake up at 3 in the morning to drink water and wonder if I was being unfair to her, if love was truly the only thing that mattered and I was complicating everything for no reason. But every time I did the math in my head regarding the rent, the debts, the expenses, and my actual savings, the answer was always the same. Not yet. I was not ready, and I did not want to lie to her by saying I was. What I did not know, what took me too long to realize, is that while I was making an effort to build a solid future, she had already started looking for it elsewhere. She started coming home late from work. She started canceling plans on Fridays, saying she had urgent meetings with new clients. She started smiling while looking at her phone and putting it face down when I entered the room. She started smelling different, like a perfume that was not hers. I saw the signs, of course I saw them, but I convinced myself it was my paranoia, that after 2 years you become sensitive, that I could not lose trust over nothing. What a fool I was. On the day of our second anniversary, I woke up determined to do things right. I asked for permission at work to leave early. I went to pick up a silver pendant I had custom made at a jewelry store in the Diamond District. Nothing exaggerated, a small moon with an amber stone, because she always said amber reminded her of her grandmother who had died when Kayla was 12. And I reserved a table at a place I had been wanting to take her to for months. One of those Italian restaurants in the West Village with white tablecloths, real candles, and an Italian waiter who talked to you about the wine as if it were his own child. I arrived 15 minutes early, ordered mineral water. I waited. 8:10 p.m. message. I am on my way, my love. 8:20. No answer. 8:30. Kayla, we have the table. Everything good? 8:40. Nothing. I started feeling that weird thing in my stomach. It was not hunger. It was that intuition you try to ignore because admitting it hurts too much. The waiter had already come by 3 times to ask if I wanted to order something in the meantime, and I had already invented 3 different excuses. I turned toward the entrance for the umpteenth time, and then I saw her walking down the sidewalk, but she was not alone. She came holding the arm of a tall guy, wearing an expensive cut gray suit, his hair styled with gel, walking as if the world belonged to him. And she, my Kayla, was wearing the red dress, the one she had worn on our first formal date, the one I had given her for her birthday a year ago with my savings of 3 months. I felt the blood drop to my feet. They entered the restaurant. The hostess greeted them confusedly, trying to ask if they had a reservation, but Kayla ignored her with a wave of her hand and walked straight to my table. She did it slowly, making sure the neighboring tables turned to look. It was a setup, a spectacle, and I was the main one in the center of it. Dylan. I did not answer her. I just looked at her. I looked at the guy. I looked at the way she puffed out her chest, as if she was about to give a graduation speech. Meet Trevor. He is the one I should have been with all this time. This Trevor extended his hand to me with that smile of, I won. I did not take it. I did not even move my fingers. Kayla, what is going on? What is going on, Dylan? Is that I am fed up. Fed up with your excuses. Fed up with waiting for you to mature. Fed up with a man who does not have the guts to commit. Trevor does know what he wants. Trevor already told me he wants to marry me. Do you know how long we have been seeing each other? For months. 4. And he already knows what you did not figure out in 2 years. The tables around us had stopped talking. A lady at the next table had her fork suspended halfway to her mouth. An older man with glasses lowered the newspaper he was reading. The Italian waiter had frozen several feet away with a bottle of wine in his hand. Why did you come here, Kayla? Why today? Why like this? Because you deserve to know what it is like to feel humiliated. Because I wanted you to understand that while you played the serious and responsible man, there was someone treating me like a queen. While you talked to me about savings and plans. Trevor took me to dinner at places like this. Like this, Dylan, take a good look around you. This is the kind of place where I should always be. Kayla, I reserved this table. I am paying for this dinner. For once in 2 years, a single time. Trevor does it every week. Trevor decided it was his time to shine and took a step forward, adjusting his suit jacket. Look, buddy, no offense, but women like Kayla are not meant to be kept waiting. You either know what you want or you step aside. And you clearly did not know. Now move over there and let us get on with our lives. I really looked at him. I looked at him carefully for the first time. And I saw something she was not seeing because she was too caught up in her own scene. I saw a guy who had a very clear tan line on his left ring finger, right where another ring used to be. I saw a guy who had nails way too manicured to be a casual bachelor. I saw a guy who smelled like expensive cologne from the duty-free shops. I saw a guy who was enjoying this as if it were a sport he had practiced before. But I said nothing. Not yet. I still wanted to hear Kayla finish what she had started. Kayla, is this really what you wanted to do on our anniversary? Yes, because I could not take it anymore. I thought that at least today you were going to fight for me, that you were going to react, that you were going to show me that you care, but there you sit, calm, as if nothing happened. That is exactly the problem with you, Dylan. You never react. You never feel anything. That was when she let go of his hand, and the slap crossed my face. The restaurant went silent, completely silent. Even the background music seemed to lower in volume. Trevor let out a nervous little laugh, one of those laughs that give away uncertainty. Kayla had her eyes full of theatrical tears waiting for my reaction, waiting for me to stand up, to yell, to beg, to make a scene, whatever it was, expecting to be the center of attention one last time before leaving with her new trophy. I took a deep breath, carefully folded my napkin, wiped my lip, and then I did the only thing neither of them expected. I motioned to the Italian waiter. "Excuse me, could you bring me the menu, please? I am going to order." Kayla blinked as if she had not heard right. "What?" "That I am going to eat dinner. I am hungry. I have been waiting for an hour, and the Osso Buco here has very good reviews online." Are you serious?" "Completely. And you too." I looked at them without raising my voice, with the calmness of someone who is asking for the check. "You can go now. This table is for one person now." Trevor straightened up, puffing out his chest. "Hey, do not talk to her like that. Who do you think you are?" "I think I am the owner of this reservation that I paid for from my card with my name on it. And you think I am a fool. But the only fool here is the one who came in a gray suit to show off another man's woman, without knowing that the wife he left in the suburbs is probably already checking his messages right now. You have the ring mark on your finger, buddy. It shows from miles away, and you could smell the guilt the moment you walked in." The guy turned pale. Kayla turned to look at him immediately, as if someone had thrown a bucket of cold water on her. "What is he talking about, Trevor? You told me you were divorced, that your divorce had been finalized 6 months ago. Kayla, let us go. This dude is delirious. You already saw how he got." "I asked you something, Trevor." "Let us go," I said. But she did not move. She looked at him with a mixture of confusion and horror, as if for the first time in 4 months she was really seeing the person in front of her, as if all the pieces of a puzzle she had ignored were starting to fit together all at once. I took advantage of that silence to speak one last time. "Kayla, our relationship ended a long time ago. I just had not realized it, but thanks for coming today. You saved me years of continuing to try with someone who confuses love with a contract." She opened her mouth, closed it. The tears that were theater before were now falling for real. But this time nobody was watching them because all eyes in the restaurant were on Trevor, who seemed to be looking for the exit with his eyes. "Dylan, wait." I did not. "There is nothing left to wait for. Both of you leave." Trevor pulled her arm, and they both almost ran out of the restaurant. The surrounding tables remained in silence. The Italian waiter approached with the menu as if nothing had happened, although you could tell by his face that he was holding back a smile of respect. "Can I bring you something to drink while you decide, sir? A glass of red wine, please. The house wine is fine, and thank you." "Right away, sir, and let me tell you, dinner is on the house tonight." I looked at him surprised. He just nodded once and left. That night, I ate dinner alone, but I did not feel alone. I ordered a mushroom osso buco that was excellent. The lady at the next table got up when she finished her dessert. She passed by my table and touched my shoulder without saying anything, just nodding as if telling me, "Well done." I walked out down the street in the West Village with a very weird feeling in my chest. It was not sadness, it was not victory, it was something cleaner. It was as if someone had opened a window after 2 years of stale air. The following 2 months were quiet. I blocked Kayla everywhere. Some mutual friends wrote to me asking what had happened, but I answered the same thing to everyone. Things did not work out. Everyone went their own way. No gossip, no revenge, no social media, no posting passive-aggressive hints. I went back to my routines. I started going to the gym seriously. I lost 10 pounds. I resumed a digital illustration course online that I had abandoned for months. I went out a couple of times with a coworker, no pressure, no promises, just coffee and talking. I thought that chapter was closed forever, until one October afternoon leaving the office, I saw her standing on the corner of the block. She was thinner, much thinner. She had her hair tied back in a messy ponytail, no makeup, wearing old jeans and a gray hoodie that looked borrowed. For a second I did not recognize her. When I did, I thought about crossing the street and pretending I had not seen her, but it was too late. She had already seen me. Dylan. Kayla. Do you have 5 minutes, please? Just 5. I sighed. A part of me wanted to tell her no, to go away, that I had already said everything I had to say. But another part, a part that still remembered the girl in the yellow dress at that barbecue in Queens, nodded slowly. 5 minutes here, standing on the sidewalk. She started talking hastily, as if she had been rehearsing that speech for weeks. She told me that the thing with Trevor had been a total disaster, that he was indeed married, that he had 2 young children, that his wife had found out by tracking his phone messages and had caused a scene at his job in front of the whole office. That she had been fired from her job because of the situation they caused right in the office. That her parents had found out the whole story through a gossipy cousin and barely spoke to her. That she had been living with an aunt in Jamaica, Queens, for 2 months because she could not pay her rent in Williamsburg. That she had started therapy 3 weeks ago because she could no longer sleep. Dylan, I was an idiot, a complete idiot. You were right about everything, Dylan. I was obsessed with the idea of marriage because I thought that was going to make me feel secure, but the reality is that I was the insecure one. Not you. I projected my fears onto you and punished you for not curing them. Please, forgive me. I listened to her. I really listened to her without interrupting her a single time. And when she finished, I did not feel satisfaction. I did not feel deep pity either. I felt something stranger, something similar to seeing a stranger crying on the street. Basic human empathy, but no personal connection, no wound that was still bleeding. Kayla, I forgive you. I truly forgive you, but forgiving does not mean getting back together. Just give me one chance to show you that I changed. Just one. Dylan, I am begging you. No, Dylan, please, whatever you want, whatever you ask of me. If you want me to get down on my knees right here and apologize to you in front of all these people walking by, I will do it. Just like I humiliated you that night. Let me do it in reverse. Let me show you that I am willing to do anything. And then, without entirely thinking about it, I let out what I had been keeping inside for months without knowing it. I do not want you to kneel. Kayla, I never wanted that. I want you to understand something important before you move on with your life. That night at the restaurant, you did not break me. You freed me. You saved me years of continuing to negotiate my peace of mind for your impatience. If I let you come back right now, it would not be because I love you. It would be because I feel sorry seeing you like this. And neither of us deserves that. You deserve someone who loves you completely, not out of pity. And I deserve someone who does not need an altar to feel loved. She stayed quiet. The tears fell silently down her makeup-free cheeks. So, there is nothing left. Nothing at all. Nothing. But I wish you the best. Seriously. Go to therapy. Work on yourself. Forgive yourself first before asking anyone else for forgiveness. You will be fine. Kayla, you just will not be fine with me. I turned around and started walking toward the subway station. I did not look back, not because I was strong, but because there was nothing left to see, nothing to feel, nothing to miss. That was the last time I saw her in my life. Today, a year and a half later, I have my own design studio, small in a rented space in Bushwick, Brooklyn, with 2 employees and a coffee maker that makes horrible coffee, but it is mine. I have a new girlfriend, Vanessa, who works in architecture, who understands what it means to build things with patience, who has never asked me for a ring because she knows that when it arrives, it will arrive for the right reasons and not out of fear. And sometimes when I walk by that Italian restaurant in the West Village, I smile because that was where, without knowing it, I got my life back. Comment. I really hope this story resonated with you the way it did with me. I want you to remember that protecting your self-respect is never the wrong move. Setting firm boundaries in any relationship might feel uncomfortable at first, but it protects your peace in the long run. Taking responsibility for your own happiness shows real inner strength. Being kind to yourself after heartbreak is one of the most powerful things you can do. Healing doesn't happen overnight. and giving yourself that time is completely okay. I encourage you to pause and ask what kind of peace of mind you truly deserve in your life. Choosing peace over constant drama might feel quiet at first, but it opens the door to something much better. You deserve relationships that build you up rather than tear you down. Drop a comment below and tell me what this made you reflect on today. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.